Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Planet Tyro. I'm your host, Donald Wonder, and it's time for another book review. And this time we're going to review another trilogy. I know it's been a while. I take a break from reading books sometimes because they can just mess with your mind. And this one, I have a lot to say about this one. We're going to be talking about a trilogy called the Chaos Walking Trilogy. The Chaos Walking Trilogy starts with a series of 3 books. The first one being The Knife of Never Letting Go. The second book being The Ask and the Answer, and the third one being called Monsters of Men. Now, there's a lot going on in this series, and I'm trying not to get into spoilers, but I'm going to be vague and speak about certain elements, so don't worry, I'm not going to ruin the book for anybody, but there's some elements I do have to bring up, but again, I'm not going to spoil anything major overall. So the plot has got to do with this young boy named Todd. He's just about to turn 13, and he lives in this town. Now, he lives in this town where there's only men. And the very peculiar thing about this town is all the men in this town can hear each other's thoughts. Now, I listened to the audiobook, so the guy who was narrating the story did a really good job, and there was times where you could hear multiple people in these people's minds as well. Another interesting thing about the story is it's not set on Earth, it's set on a completely different planet. And again, being kind of vague, you're told that these people came to live on this planet to settle, and then there was men and women that came to this planet, but something happened. Something particular happened to the women, and just for the argument of the first book, I will say the women died, and there's only men left, and the men can hear all each other's thoughts, and it caused a lot of chaos in the beginning, but now they're just used to it. Now, this boy Todd, the main character, was born that way, so he's more used to it than ever. Another weird thing is, on this planet, the animals talk. Now, when I say the animals talk, I don't mean they talk sense. I mean, they pretty much talk like Pokemon. They just say their names, they just say 1 or 2 words. It's just, they just speak English. Let's put it that way. The animals speak English, and it's a really weird dynamic. Now, I've set the stage for you, but basically, the plot starts when one day Todd's walking, and because he can hear everyone's voice, he's walking in the field one day, and then he just feels a void in his mind. There's something that's just not there, that just disturbs the hell out of him. And basically, you find out there's a big ass secret going on in the town, and he gets set off on a journey. Well, not exactly a journey. This whole first book is a chase. This boy is running for his life. He's being chased by his town. He's accompanied by someone he finds along the way, and ultimately all 3 books have got to do with this alien planet, this telepathy that the people have been dealing with for a long time, a lot of wars that went on behind the scenes before this boy was born. And let me just tell you what I thought of the series overall, man. I have a lot of good to say with the series and a lot of bad to say. Let me start by saying the main characters in this book are young. They're these 2 young people, a young boy and a young girl. And they're kind of, the people that the town this main character comes from, Apprentice Town, feels like a redneck town. Now, I don't know if there's black or white people or anything. All I know, these people are backwards, they're isolated, and when this boy goes on the run, and he doesn't even know why he's on the run, he's just running for his life. It's a very tense book. And the boy is so young, it's kind of frustrating. And honestly, the book is very dour. The boy is being attacked multiple times. He's running for his life. He's trying to protect this girl, and he doesn't even know what the hell is going on. As the reader, you do not know what's going on for the first book. And honestly, I'm just going to kind of review this book by book. The first book was a good thrill ride, but the book is based on secrets. You don't know what's going on. You're in the main character's shoes. You don't know anything about the town. The boy doesn't even know why he's on the run. The boy doesn't know why people want him so badly. The boy doesn't know why people want the girl so badly. And it's a good mystery. But the book is kind of frustrating because there's so much negativity and just it's so dour. There's so much like frustration. The boy, by the way, the boy is illiterate on top of that. The boy can't even read, and he doesn't know so much. The thing that kept me gripped with the story is just that it's so fast paced. It keeps you on your toes, and you just want to know what's going on. It reminds you of, if you watch Lost, it's basically everything that Lost had going for it. is the kind of tactic this first book had going for it. Now the writing is good, the mystery is interesting, and it kept me engaged, but I'm not gonna lie, I was frustrated. I don't like being pulled along and not knowing all these secretive things, and the main character was very annoying, but the writer of the book, he did a good job, I'm not gonna lie. And the main characters are very young, they're pre-teen, they're like 12 to 13 years old. Everyone else in the book is an adult, but the main people you're following, Todd and Viola, they are very young. So seeing them being attacked by all these adults all the time, and it's very adult. They're getting attacked, some crazy shit happens, death, people getting stabbed and all that stuff. I did enjoy the book, but honestly, I only kept reading the book because I was hooked. Now the second book, The Ask and the Answer, the first book ended on a bit of a cliffhanger, was a bit annoying, so you're just gonna want to read the second book unless you just throw the book away and think fuck this franchise. But the second book, honestly, it delves more into the things you don't know. The main antagonist steps forward in the second book, and you knew who the main antagonist was from the beginning. He was the leader of the town. He was chasing Todd from the first book, and I like the antagonist because he's a master manipulator. He's very smart, and you meet some more women down the line, and it was very interesting. But again, so many secrets, and this young boy is so naive. He's arrogant, he's illiterate. He's not a main character that's enjoyable to follow. He's very frustrating. But the more the writer gets into the mythos of the world building, it becomes very interesting when you find out more about the war with the women and the psychosis of this telepathy, and the fact that this is not really a spoiler, but the women on this planet, their minds can't be read. And that's where a lot of the tension, and that's where a lot of the friction of the history of the wars that were going on comes into play. On top of that, they add another element, is that there's an alien species on this planet that adds another element. Let me tell you something, man. I really would have loved this book series more if the young boy and the young girl were not in it at all. Because the thing with the army, the things with the men and the women and the telepathy and the aliens, that is enough for a very good adult mature story. But my problem with these books are the main characters are just so young, and they're so irritating, and there's so much Todd and Viola, and they're pining after each other, and it becomes so annoying. But all the adults in this book and everything the adults are doing with the army and the politics, all of that is really good. The world building is not complicated, but it's really good. It's really interesting, and it kept me engaged. Again, the audiobook was phenomenal, the voice acting was phenomenal, the narration was on point, the writing is good. But I do not like the protagonists in the story. They're really annoying, they're really young. Now, to be fair, the writer wrote them well for their age. I'm not even saying that they wouldn't act how they acted, but when you've got such a strong antagonist in this story, and the antagonist is very clever, the main character cannot go up against him. He can't even read. So it's very frustrating. The antagonist does have other people he has to deal with, but it becomes very predictable because the characters are so young. Things can only turn out a certain way. So by the third book, things have reached a massive head, and everything I liked about the book, all the adult themes, the adults themselves and the aliens and the politics and the war, that became more interesting. And the aliens in particular, in the last book, they really took center stage in this book. And the writer does a lot of good things that I didn't mention. He splits the narrative. The first book was mostly told from Todd's perspective. The second book is told from Todd and Viola's perspective. The third book is told by Todd, Viola, and the aliens' perspective. The writer does a lot of good things, but what bothers me is just the main two characters, the young boy and the young girl, and the way they pine over each other, and the way that the book portrays them, and they're so pure and they're so innocent, and it just annoyed the hell out of me. And it's still good writing, and I still got to the end, and I still enjoyed it overall, but I just don't think the pieces match. It's like putting kids in an adult fight. I just felt like there was so much I liked about the book. There were, honestly, the elements, the plot elements, the story elements are really good, but some of the characters, especially the main two characters, are just too young. They're too annoying, and they just don't fit this world. Or, you know, I know maybe I just wanted the adult book all the way through. And let me tell you something, just because these kids are in the book, that doesn't mean it's a children's story. This is not really a children's story, and these kids have to grow up fast. And that's another thing that annoyed me. These kids are like 12 years old. By the end of the book, they might as well be 19. And I do understand that in the guise of what they're going through is very adult, very serious. It's life and death consistently. They grow up very fast. But all 3 books, they span about 5 months. So when the more I think about it, there's a lot of inconsistencies with the main 2 characters. Honestly, everything else I liked about the book, except for the main 2 characters, and they're inconsistent, and they're not even written badly. For me, they just throw the series off kilter. They just it's like onions and ice cream to me. It really was, it just brought it down for me a little bit. But I'm not going to fault the writer. The writer, he did a good job overall. The mythos was good. The ideas was good. And you know what? I would like to revisit this world in a more, no, I don't want to revisit this world. The 3rd book ends, you know what? And I know some people was upset that the 3rd book didn't wrap up every little thing. There's a little side story you can read as well. You can read it for free. If you go to the author's website, you can read it for free. But for me, I just got so annoyed with these 2 characters. And I know I'm throwing people off. You might enjoy it, but every review I've read where people were critical about it, they were upset with the main 2 characters. They were so young and they were so different. They had a different perspective. And I know I should look at it from the angle of these 2 characters are meant to show an innocence to everyone else. The reason why they're the only 2 young ones is they're the shining point. They're the thing that brings everything together in the story. I understand that, but they annoyed the fuck out of me still. You know what I mean? So that's just my opinion, guys. I still think it's an okay book. I would give it a very low, solid B. And as usual, if you look into the franchise itself, Lionsgate bought the rights to make it into a movie. Again, it's just like Ender's Game. I don't know if they'll make this into a movie because there's too much brutal things happening to these kids. You know, I don't know. I guess they did it. Even Hunger Games. Even if they were the age of Katniss in Hunger Games, it would make more sense to me. But these are 12 and 13-year-old kids dealing with murderers and people blowing up and all this killing aliens, this crazy political shit. There's so many good themes here. I don't just want to shit on the book and just moan about it. There's a lot of good themes here. The audiobooks do a fantastic job. But this is one of those books to me, it's like Lost. You're annoyed you're watching it, but you want to get to the end. I think that's the perfect analogy. Once you read the 1st book, you're either going to drop it and say, forget this, I can't deal with this, or I need to find out the mysteries, I want to see how it ends. And that's what I did. It wasn't that much of a chore, but once I got in, besides my irritation, I just had to finish it. So, low solid B, that's my opinion, guys. Whether you read the book or you didn't read it or you're going to read it, let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. It was an interesting trilogy, and I like these trilogies. You know, I wouldn't necessarily consider this young adult, to be honest with you. But yes, I don't know. I'll leave the link to Goodreads down there. I don't even know what genre it is. This is science fiction drama. That's what I would call it. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough, guys. If you want more reviews, click that annotation on the right there to see all the other stuff we do. Books, movies, TV shows, the podcast. Don't forget to hit a like if you like the video. And again, thanks for subscribing. I'll see you on the next video here on Planet Tyro. Take care. Peace out.